All right, here we go. We're going to be working on a SS diesel performance upgrade water pump cooling system for a 95 GMC 3500 with a 6.5 liter diesel engine. If you have one of these trucks, then you're pretty much familiar with how much of an issue overheating can be. All right, first step, we're going to move all these clips across the front to get the positive battery cable free. And we're going to remove all the bolts from around the fan shroud. I'm going to remove this, one of the first steps to try to facilitate making a video. You're going to end up fighting the shroud a little bit, trying to get it up and out of place, but here it is out of place. You can look down and see some of the bolts that were keeping us. The upper radiator hose has already been removed, and got the coolant draining right now. While the coolant is draining, we can go ahead and get that upper the thermostat housing, the outlet hose, out of the way. So one of those has got a nut on there. It secures the vent line for the fuel system, and on the other side is just a traditional bolt. So we're going to remove all that hardware. Once the hardware is out of the way, a little bump, and there comes the housing. Next step, we're going to loosen up the nuts that secure the fan to the water pump assembly. After that's done, we're going to loosen the belt. Then we're going to remove the nuts securing the fan to the water pump assembly. We're going to pry the fan off, being careful not to hit our radiator. And that's followed by the water pump pulley and the serpentine belt. Next off is going to be the support bracket that helps support the air pump. This needs to come off in order to give us access to the water pump bolts. And on the other side, we have to remove the bracket that secures the power steering pump. Once those are out of the way, go ahead and zip out the remaining water pump retaining bolts. Making funny faces while recording the video are optional at this point. Next up, you got to remove the hardware that secures the oil filler tube to the water pump backing plate. Take the two nuts from the oil filler off, and then it just kind of pulls or pries out of place. And after that's all said and done, we're going to remove the fitting that feeds our heater core. If you prefer, skip to the end of the video, and if you choose to do that mod as well, you can go ahead and just cut that line and get it out of the way. After that, we're going to do a little on the top side. In order to get the crossover tube out of the way, you got to remove the alternator stiffening bracket, and then the alternator will flop out of the way. Once that's out of the way, it's time to get the water pump off. Water pump's been on there for a little while, and that old RTV is not going to make life easy for you. So do the best you can on this part, pry it off, but be careful not to throw that into the radiator. So at this point, comparing the designs, you're wondering to yourself, what the hell am I paying for? Obviously the upper tube is different. You get two thermostats instead of just one, so that's twice the flow. But what about the water pump? Why am I replacing this? Well, the main difference is what you don't see. If you look down in this impeller, you'll see the channels and you'll see how big they are. Now when you come over here to the revised, the high output, you'll see that these veins and these pockets in the impeller are significantly deeper. So that's what the difference is between the two. That's where your money goes. Alright, what I didn't show you was the cleaning of the gaskets and putting the new water pump on the old water pump backing plate. Alright, reassembly. I'm going to put the water pump and its gasket in place. I'm going to hold it in place with the larger bolts, and then we're going to start all the smaller bolts, get those in check. After we get the small ones all zipped down, we're going to take the larger bolts back out. We're going to coat those with a thread sealant. Then we're going to start those by hand and zip those down. After those bolts are in and secured, we're going to mount our power steering pump bracket and then our air pump. Then we're going to put the respective nuts back on those and consider the water pump mounted. Then it's on to the crossover tube. The crossover tube is going to require fitting, which is filing away some of the tensioner support arm. The instructions refer to this as the alternator bracket, but it's actually the part that holds a tensioner into place. Now, what I haven't shown you in this video is how to relieve the tensioner support bracket. It is noted in the instructions that it needs to be done. However, they say that it can be filed. And honestly, if you're going to spend that much time with a file, it's going to take a long time to take that much meat away. But as you can see, I had to do a significant amount of relieving. Basically, I just put the bracket close to where it needed to go, traced it out with a Sharpie, and kind of whittled away a little bit at a time until the everything fit in there as it was supposed to. But you definitely want to make sure that it fits 100%. Trick is to take a stiff piece of cardboard or a sheet of paper, make sure that it's going to pass around without any interference at all. You definitely don't want those two to touch and rub. And here's the finished product. Once it's all said and done, you're going to have relief right here so that the new crossover tube can sit happily in place, which is now a dual thermostat setup. You can see the old radiator hose goes around the back side now instead of out the front as it did previously. One of the other mods that I alluded to before is on the other side. The aluminum setup has been cut back and replaced with a nipple and some 5/8 hose. 5/8 hose will slip onto the existing aluminum 1/2-inch hose, which you can see I trimmed back right here, peeled back some of the plastic nonsense, and then the rubber hose now makes up for the rest of it. And the reason that was done is because of the lower profile of the new crossover tube wouldn't allow for the compressor plug. There's a plug on the back side of the compressor that would interfere with the old coupling. So I would encourage you to do that modification as well. I hope you learned something from watching this. I hope you can evaluate whether or not this is something you are capable of doing. Thanks for watching.